Good morning students, this is my lecture number 1 for class 11th subject English for the poem The Laburnum Top composed by Ted Hughes. This poem is poem number 2 taken from your main course book Hornbill. In this lecture of this poem, I will give the complete introduction of the poem and then I'll be explaining the poem line by line to you. Along with it, I will be telling you the meanings of difficult words over there. And then at the end of the poem, I will tell you all the literary devices used by the poet in this poem. So children, let us begin the poem with its introduction. The poem The Laburnum Top is about a repaying relationship between the laburnum tree and the goldfinch. You must know what is the laburnum top or the tree. Laburnum is a short tree with hanging branches, yellow flowers and poisonous seeds. And goldfinch is a small singing bird with yellow feathers on its wings. The poet describes this laburnum tree is yellow, silent and death-like and is made alive by the bird, that is goldfinch, and her young ones. And as the bird leaves to fly in the sky, the tree becomes again silent and death-like. So children, the poet Ted Hughes tells about the laburnum top, which shows a repaying relationship between the tree and the goldfinch bird. And it describes that the tree is yellow and becomes alive with the presence of this bird goldfinch because the yellow bird has her shelter on this tree where she feeds her young ones here. But as soon as the bird leaves to fly in the sky, the tree again becomes silent and it appears as if it is dead. So children, let us begin with the explanation of the poem line by line. If you see in your book, the poem begins with the first 3 lines that the laburnum top is silent, quite still, in the afternoon yellow September sunlight, a few leaves yellowing, all its seeds fallen. In these 3 lines, the poet Ted Hughes says that he saw a laburnum tree whose leaves were yellow and he found the top of this short tree with hanging branches, yellow flowers and poisonous seeds was silent and was appearing quite still. There was no movement noticed by the poet, as he says it was the time in the afternoon in the month of September. As it is autumn season, so all the seeds of this laburnum tree had fallen down. The poet has used this word yellow for leaves and sunlight here. Yellow symbolizes silence, death and beauty. Therefore, the poet Ted Hughes describes the whole scene of the tree with this color yellow. So, altogether the poet has described the laburnum top that he noticed in the afternoon in the month of September when all its leaves are yellow like sunlight and they are on the ground because it is autumn season. In the next lines of the poem, the poet writes, "Till the goldfinch comes with a twitching chirrup, a suddenness, a startlement at a branch end. Then sleek as a lizard and alert and abrupt, she enters the thickness and a machine starts up. Of chitterings, and a tremor of wings and trillings, the whole tree trembles and thrills. So children, before I explain these lines till thrills to you, let me tell you the meanings of all the difficult words appearing in these lines. Let us begin from the beginning of this extract. Goldfinch, I already told you, that is a small singing bird with yellow feathers on its wings. And then the next word is twitching chirrup. Twitching is a sudden jerk or movement. Chirrup is a bird making repeated high-pitched sound. Startlement is a feeling of sudden shock. Then sleek as lizard and alert and abrupt. Abrupt means rapid. And then it is chitterings. Chitterings means to make a chattering sound. Then it is tremors of wing. Tremor is vibration. Vibration of wings of the goldfinch young ones. Then trillings. Trilling means to produce chirruping or the chirrup sound. Trembles means shaking. Thrills means a sudden feeling of excitement. So these are the meanings of the words appearing in these lines. Now let's begin with the explanation of these lines. The poet Ted Hughes tells that a goldfinch bird comes to the end of this death-like tree and makes a sudden chirrup sound by sitting at the end of its branch. The goldfinch comes silently and sits at the end of one of its branch and produces a sound, chirrup sound. The bird, while being rapid, alert and precautious like a lizard, sits on the branches of this tree. Here the poet compares the movement of the bird with lizard. There is a comparison shown that the poet tells that goldfinch becomes sleek as a lizard, means it tries to shrink itself up to the size of the lizard that no one must notice the presence of this bird onto this tree, and sits silently in order to observe whether anybody is noticing its presence onto the tree or not. Then, as the goldfinch moved towards the thickness of the branch, because there are young ones of this bird kept safely into the thickness of the tree, the bird sits silently at the end of the branch to notice whether anybody else is noticing the presence of this bird on the tree. When she gets assured that her presence is not noticed by anybody else, she moves towards the thickness of the branch to meet her young ones. As soon as this bird enters the thickness of the branch, her young ones start chirping and doing vibrations with wings. They start tremoring their wings because they get excited to see their mother with them. These young ones recognize their mother very well. They get excited and they start moving their wings. They start tremoring their wings with excitement of seeing their mother in the thickness of the tree. And it appears to the poet as if there is a machine that has started sounding into the thick branch of this laburnum tree. By the time the tree was silent, still, no movement was noticed by the poet. And when this goldfinch comes and enters to see the young ones which were kept safe by her in the thickness of the tree, the poet notices as if the life has come back to this tree and the tremors of wings has started vibrating the whole tree in such a manner, it appears as if a machine has started inside of the thickness of this tree, and the tree which was appearing dead has become alive again. Because of this movement of the bird and her young ones, the tree is shaking and thrilling. That makes the poet feel as if the gone life of the tree has come back to its branches and the thickness due to the presence of this bird, goldfinch. Here, the poet has given two opposite scenarios of the tree. The tree first being dead, death-like and still, and then giving life and shelter to the bird and her young ones. The goldfinch entered the thickness of the tree because she had brought food to feed her young ones there. She had kept her young ones safe from being attacked by anybody. They were kept inside the thickness of this tree by her, so that nobody would notice the presence of her young ones, as they are too young to fly. They cannot take their own first flight. They have not learnt yet. They are very young. Therefore, the goldfinch is very smart enough and behaves like the mother who is very caring for her young ones. After observing the scenario around the tree, she enters the thickness of the tree and she goes there to feed her young ones. Therefore, the tree also gets its life back. There is a tremor, there is chittering sound, there is excitement of the young ones because they had seen their mother with them. Therefore, the poet has given two opposite scenarios of the tree: before the goldfinch comes and after she enters the thickness of the tree. In the last three lines of this extract number 2, the poet writes, "It is the engine of her family." It refers to the laburnum tree and her family. Her means the goldfinch. It is the engine of her family. She stalks it full, then flirts out to a branch end, showing her barred face identity mask. These are the beautiful lines the poet writes. He says, this laburnum tree is the engine of her family. Here, the family of goldfinch is living in the thickness of this laburnum tree. And children, you know, no machine works without its engine. An engine is required if a machine has to start up. Therefore, the poet says, the laburnum tree and the goldfinch bird is the engine of her family, because this tree was given a life by this goldfinch, and she gives life to her young ones also, because she enters the thickness of this tree to feed her young ones. Unless they are fed by their mother, they would not be able to survive. Therefore, this is the engine of her family. Here she has kept her young ones safe in the laburnum tree. So she provides food to her young ones and moves to the other branch end. When she finds that her purpose of coming to this branch or the tree is successfully done, she has achieved the motto of feeding her young ones, then she silently comes out of that thickness, and first she sits again at the end of the branch. The poet says that she stalks it full. Stalks means to add fuel to the engine. And when she feeds her young ones fully, she flirts out to a branch end. Flirts out means lead on to. Then, after feeding the young ones, the goldfinch leads on to a branch end again. And here there is a beautiful explanation given by the poet. He says when she comes and sits the second time after feeding her young ones to the branch end, she shows her barred face identity mask. In this line, the poet Ted Hughes says that the goldfinch does not show the real expressions of her happiness as she has just met her young ones. As her young ones felt happy and excited to see their mother, similarly, the mother also felt happy to see her young ones inside the thickness of this laburnum tree. And she was also very happy after feeding her young ones, and she was happy to see her young ones were staying safe there. And those happy expressions of her face were masked by her very smartly because she did not want others to show that she had something excited inside the thickness of the tree, so that in her absence anybody could enter or hurt her young ones. So this is the relationship of the mother beautifully explained by the poet in these lines. The poet says she hides her happy expressions from her face, and she is showing her barred face. Barred means stripy, with stripes, means bars you would have seen. I am using one another quote here, an idiom, to show the pessimism and optimism of two persons. Two persons standing behind the bars, one sees the mud and the other sees the stars. Bars here means stripes, means the poet wants to express the feelings of the mother that she was very happy to see and feed her young ones, but she had hidden the real expressions of her face, and she was wearing a fake identity mask. She did not want others to notice that happiness. Therefore, it was appearing as if she was wearing a mask onto her face in order to hide the real feelings from anybody else, because she had a fear that her young ones must remain safe in her absence. Now we are proceeding to the last 3 lines of the poem, in which the poet writes, "Then with airy delicate whistle chirrup whispering, she launches away towards the infinite, and the laburnum subsides to empty." Here children, airy. Airy means weird and strange. Whistle chirrup means gentle whisper like the chirping of the bird. And subsides means diminishes. The poet tells that after reaching the end of the branch, the goldfinch bird makes a sweet, strange chirping sound, just like whispering, and then she flies away towards the infinite sky, endless sky. Why does she produce this sound? Children, here you need to understand, this sound she produces to give an indication to her young ones kept inside the thickness of the laburnum tree that they must be silent because their mother is going to take her flight again. It was the direction for the children kept inside that their mother was moving towards the infinite sky, and there was no one to protect them from any enemy. This was the way to indicate the children of the goldfinch. Therefore, the poet says, before she launches away towards the infinite sky, to the endless sky, she produces a sweet chirping sound that was just like whispering and she takes her another flight. After the goldfinch flies into the endless sky, the tree again becomes silent and death-like. This shows that children of the young ones of the goldfinch are also very obedient. After listening the chirrup sound of their mother that was produced in a whistling way, the young ones understand that now they don't have protection of their mother, therefore they become silent, and due to the silence of those young ones, the laburnum tree also becomes silent and death-like. Now there is no more sound audible, there is no more tremors felt, the laburnum top again becomes still and silent, as it was described by the poet in the beginning of the poem. So children, this is the complete poem which describes the caring attitude of the mother towards her young ones, and the poet describes this beautiful relationship of the mother and her young ones with the support and example of this laburnum tree. So children, here the explanation of the poem is completed, and now we will proceed towards the literary devices used in the poem by the poet. You can see the literary devices used in the poem. The first one is alliteration. Alliteration is the device which is used to show the repetition of a consonant sound at the beginning of two or more consecutive words. The instances of alliteration in the poem are as follows. September sunlight. You see, it is given in the second line of the poem. September sunlight. S is repeated there. Tree trembles. That is also given. And here you see there is alliteration because there is repetition of consonant sounds at the beginning of two consecutive words. The second literary device used by the poet is simile. Simile is shown when there is comparison between two things using like or as. So there you see in the poem it is given sleek as a lizard. Here there is a comparison of the goldfinch with lizard. So, and as is also used. Here it is simile. The next literary device is metaphor. Metaphor is also a comparison, which is actually an indirect comparison between two things. Generally, a quality is compared. She enters the thickness and a machine starts up. The noise created by the movement of the bird is compared to the machine's noise. It is the engine of her family, showing her barred face identity mask. In all these phrases taken from your poem, if you notice, there is comparison shown between two things without using as or like. So here it is metaphor used. The fourth literary device is personification. Children, personification is noticed where the attribution of personal nature characteristics to something non-human is shown. So here you see the whole tree trembles and thrills. Here the tree trembles and thrills. So there is attribution of personal nature characteristics to something non-human. Therefore, here in this line there is personification. So children, these are the literary devices that we notice the poet has used in this poem. They were alliteration, simile, metaphor and personification. So here the explanation and the explanation of the poem as well as the literary devices end. And children, you would have noticed that I have given you the complete introduction as well as line by line explanation of the poem and all the literary devices used by the poet in this poem. So here your complete poem is explained by me. Now we will proceed towards the homework. So children, on the basis of understanding the poem, you people are supposed to summarize it in your Fair English notebook in your own words. I hope you would be capable enough to summarize it nicely. And in my next lecture of this poem, I will recapitulate the whole poem for you. Along with the recapitulation, I will discuss the question answers with you. So by the time you people are supposed to summarize it in your Fair English notebooks in about 80 to 100 words. Thank you. Have a nice day.